Hello and welcome, folks. This is Krishnendu. Welcome back to my channel. We just produced a video on how you can improve your lifestyle and your health and beat the pandemic. Actually, it is still not too late, and you can still do it because it's not over and it can get worse. But we have to make it better. But today we're going to talk about the vaccine. Very important point, and I do have Dr. Parikshit online, popularly known as Simba. He's online. Hey, Simba.
Hi everyone. How are you?
Let's talk about the vaccine today. Let's try. You see, typically I don't try to be politically correct and all of that as much as possible, but it's still important, because the vaccine is being promoted by each and every country in the world, and it's kind of forced vaccination the way I see it. And it seems like, even my customers are asking for, are you vaccinated, and so on and so forth. So it's a big dilemma. So what's your take on this?
Look, me being a doctor, everyone would expect me to talk like every other doctor out there or every other medical establishment out there, who is saying that get vaccinated, right?
Right.
Now,
Your video got disconnected. Yeah. We're back again.
we doctors in India, and I guess all across the world as well, we were given the vaccine a lot earlier. So in India, doctors were given both shots of the vaccine around 3.5 months ago.
Yeah, let's try now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
it
Am
sounds
I
sounds.
audible?
Yeah, very very audible.
Yes, so being frontline workers, we doctors were given both shots of the vaccine around 3 months ago. So I opted out. There was some pressure, from friends, family, colleagues. Even till this day, everyone insists that I take the vaccine.
Okay.
But I opted out. Now, being a doctor, I should not go about telling people don't get vaccinated.
Right. Why did you opt out?
Yes. Now, look, first of all, about a vaccine, I feel, yes, there was a lot of pressure, like not a lot of forceful pressure, honestly. Pressure from people who were concerned about me, friends, family, medical colleagues. Even till this day, they say that, I should get vaccinated. But first of all, I feel something like a vaccine should be based on free will. No one should be forced about a vaccination.
Right.
Again, since I'm saying no one should be forced about a vaccination, I will also not go about telling people that get vaccinated or don't get vaccinated. Why or what are the reasons for which I never got vaccinated? So there are multiple reasons. Now, I give you my reason. Don't base those reasons and use it for yourself. Decision. You weigh the pros and cons and then you proceed. But as I said, I've never been politically correct. I will say what I feel is correct, my opinion. Okay? Anyone out there can judge me. Listen to the reasons why I never took the vaccine. And mind you, 15 months of the pandemic, I'm still alive and healthy. So what happens is, the first reason why I did not take the vaccine was, yes, I feel it was a very rushed endeavor by all the pharmaceutical companies. There were certain human trials happening, but usually vaccines are such a kind of medicine which should be tried and tested for a much longer time. Yes, I do acknowledge that because of the pandemic crisis, everyone was panicking and there was not enough time to really take it easy and test the vaccines. So a lot of vaccines were given emergency authorization for use. But anyway, coming back to my reasons. Number one reason, the vaccines, when they were manufactured, the type of virus which had affected the world, type of strain of virus, was of a certain type. What we've been seeing is that the virus has been mutating drastically and very rapidly.
Okay.
So when the vaccines were finally available for use, for human use, the virus had already mutated to different strains. So I strongly feel that the vaccine which was made for human use, it was more specific or more designed to be effective against a strain of a virus which now is probably not there at all. So personally feel that I really don't know how effective this virus is going to be against the newer strains of the virus, the new mutated strains of the virus.
Right.
Number one.
Okay.
Number two, it is impossible that I've been out there for 15 months, going to hospitals almost daily, going to high risk areas, unknowingly seeing patients who have COVID in my chamber, and 2 days later they call me and say, I think I've got COVID, and then they are turning up with a report with COVID positive. So I'm spending an hour with them in my chamber. So it's impossible that I have not been exposed to the virus. It's impossible that I probably have not had COVID infection. So going by that theory or assumption, if I had COVID, either I didn't know of it or I had very mild symptoms, then I recovered. So that means my own immune system has done its job effectively, done its job of dealing with the virus. Because if it didn't do its job, I would have been just like another 10 patients out there.
Correct.
I would have been unwell, I would be having medicines, I would have maybe needed hospitalization. So if I have been affected, if I did have the COVID infection and my immune system did its job, that means I have formed a natural immune response to the virus. So that means I have formed natural and...
Hey, hold on. You broke off again. Hold on. You said you broke off. You said you formed natural antibodies?
Yes. So, yes, natural antibodies.
Okay.
So in a way, I have already done what a vaccine would have done to me. A vaccine gives you antibodies. So here, naturally, I have formed antibodies against the virus. Okay. That's another reason why I feel that I do not need the vaccine at this point of time.
Right.
An extension of this reason is I have some confidence in my metabolic health. Now, in the earlier discussion we did, if my health is good, if I'm doing all the right things to look after and keep my immune health. But here we're not only talking about one COVID virus, we're talking about multiple strains. The replication and the mutation is going on happening. So that's another reason why I never took the vaccine is I just feel that my immune health, my overall health is good enough to handle.
Right.
Another thing about a vaccine, I honestly think that a vaccine can only work if you have a good immune system to begin with. Now, I know countless doctors, like these are all personally known people, who were given both shots of vaccination 2 to 3 months ago, yet they suffered from symptoms, some moderate, a few of them serious symptoms, with their oxygen saturation dropping to below 80 and needing hospitalization.
Despite the vaccine.
They were all diagnosed as COVID positive. They were having moderate to more severe symptoms, yet they were vaccinated. So that kind of justifies my reasoning all the more that a vaccine may not be as effective as you think. And I'm not saying anything against the vaccines. Again, I'm boiling it down to your immune health. If your immunity is bad, a vaccine will not be able to do much. If you have good immunity, that's where the vaccine might, supplement your immunity. But my point is, if you really have a good immunity, why bother about a vaccination? Your natural defense mechanism should do the job. And another thing, I already discussed this in our last interaction. Lots and lots of youngsters are getting seriously ill this year. Okay, ranging from the mid-20s to the mid-40s. I have seen of around people losing their lives between 25, 26 years to 42 to 44 years.
How many people?
They've lost their lives last 20 days.
How many people?
Around 5 to 6 people among my...
Personally known to you, okay.
5 to 6 people among close contacts. Yes, personally, or I know that they're doctors personally, that they're treating doctors. These people lost their lives. They were young, but they were unhealthy. Had diabetes, hypertension, they were obese, they were heavy smokers. So what I'm trying to say is, all these youngsters lost their lives only because their health was poor. So that is probably justifying my reasoning that if you are not healthy, the vaccine is not going to do much to protect you. Yes, there is a school of thought. A lot of people are saying, no, you should still get vaccinated because the vaccines ensure less of the disease, or they ensure less deaths. Yes, that may be correct. So as I said, to each his own. If someone has poor health and they want to feel this a sense of being protected slightly, or this umbrella of protection through a vaccine, they can go ahead and take a vaccine. But I am seeing over the last few months that more and more people who are vaccinated yet getting ill overall have poor metabolic health. So because I have some confidence in my metabolic health, and this confidence hasn't just come like that. We've had to work hard for it. You had Krishnan, you've worked hard for your metabolic health, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
So if we worked hard for metabolic health, we are reaping the benefits right now.
Right.
And yeah, one more thing, it's slightly technical, it's a small technical discussion, but it's another thing which I do believe in. There is a very, very renowned vaccine expert. He has been associated with, he's very pro-vaccine, by the way, this science. I couldn't really get his pronunciation wrong. Geert van den Bosch, he's been associated with some of the world's most leading vaccine programs, and not only vaccine programs, vaccination inceptions and manufacturing. So he was one of the pioneers of the influenza vaccine program and all. So he has now raised a few concerns. Now, one concern he said that what is a vaccine doing? A vaccine is raising your antibody against a specific type of virus or a specific strain of virus, or maybe multiple strains of virus. But remember, what happens when you get vaccinated? Your antibody amount, or titer, we call it titer, that spikes, that goes up. But the antibody which is going up in your body, it is mostly a specific antibody.
Right.
A specific antibody aimed against a specific group of strains of the virus. Okay?
Right.
Now, when you get naturally infected, like probably which I have, not probably, now I know I have because I did a blood test a few days ago, I'll come to that later. Once you get infected, you also form antibodies. But these antibodies are known as non-specific antibodies. Now, what these non-specific antibodies do is, their titer or amount is probably low, but they are more broad spectrum. They offer broader protection against various strains of a virus from the same family. Like here, the family is coronavirus. Let's say I got naturally infected. By the way, let me break the news. I unknowingly have got naturally infected. As I was suspecting for the last 15 months, it's impossible that I have not got infected. So last week I did an antibody test.
Okay.
So the antibody test is an IgG test. It gives you an idea of how much antibody against the COVID virus you are having in your body. So the normal value of that, like the cutoff mark is 1.4. So if it is below 1.4, it means you have not developed any immunity against the virus because you have not been exposed to the virus. Now, I did my blood test which came in last week. I just did it because I was curious to know, did I have COVID unknowingly or did I not? So my value is 6.
You just broke off. What did you say your value was?
Mine is 6.78. So 6.78 essentially means that I have been infected with the virus unknowingly, and my immune system has started forming antibodies against the virus. How immune, no one knows, but at least I'm a lot more immune than someone who has not been exposed, who has less antibodies. Now, let's say I got infected. I formed antibodies which are non-specific. Now, non-specific means they are going to cater to a wide variety of strains. Considering this immune status I have, let's say tomorrow another new strain pops up, when that my non-specific will be more efficient at trying to fight that virus, even a strain of COVID. Now, someone who gets vaccinated, they form specific to the vaccination which was designed against a specific strain of the virus. So someone who gets vaccinated forms a very high titer or high amount of what? Specific antibodies. So if they have that huge amount of antibody in their body and that specific strain of the virus attacks them again, they're just going to very effectively deal with that strain of the virus. But now what happens if a mutated strain enters their body? This high titer, this might be a bit technical, but I'm just touching upon the surface of this discussion. The high titer of the specific antibody which the body produced as a result of the vaccine will then outcompete the natural antibodies. So the natural non-specific antibodies. So what happens is you may have some natural non-specific antibodies, but you've got a high titer of a specific antibody because of the vaccine. So then what happens if a different kind of suppresses the non-specific antibodies, the specific antibody which you produced as a result of the vaccine, it will outcompete those. So you are handling specific strain, you may not be very good at handling a new mutated strain of the virus. So I just feel I am a bit more protected being naturally infected using non-specific antibodies, just giving myself a vaccine and forming a high titer of a specific antibody, and not like a medicine that I pop a pill and the effects of those pills stay with me just for a few days. When you get vaccinated, the effect of this vaccination stays with you lifelong. It's like programming a new software into your body. So the effect of this vaccine will stay with us for life. Just imagine all the childhood vaccines we had. Our body remembers what is happening. It's called a memory cell in our immune system, which forms a memory immune response against a certain virus or bacteria. And whenever that virus attacks you, maybe 1 year later, 10 years later, your body is ready to fight back. Vaccinated, I feel that I would have formed a memory to attack, or I would have formed a high titer of antibody to attack only a very limited strain of the virus. So that's another reason why I chose not to get vaccinated. Now, being very honest, only time will tell whether I am right or I am wrong. It's been 15 months, I'm still doing fine. I've had no symptoms, maybe once in a while, a dry cough, a bit of back pain. Those might have been the time when I was infected with COVID, because if my antibodies are high now.
Yeah, so what you're saying is kind of, it's your theory.
Yes, it's my assumption. It's just my assumption.
Yeah, okay. So
my assumption based on facts I've gathered from some of the experts.
Right, okay.
Because I'm not an immunologist, I'm not a virologist. Right. So it's not my field of specialization.
Basically, you would say still, like, if you want to take the vaccine, you take the vaccine. But what is best to do is still, have a very good, healthy lifestyle and exercise. Basically, that's the bottom line still.
Absolutely. Yeah. You improve your natural immune health. That's the most important thing. The vaccine may supplement your immune health, but there's nothing better than being healthy from within, having a strong immune system from within. Don't depend on vaccines. Don't depend on vaccines too much. Don't depend on immunity boosting medication. Safest bet is your own.
Dr. Parikshit, Simba, I'd like to conclude here. As I said, I hate to be politically correct, but let's conclude here. Actually, I ran out of space on my memory card recording this video. Thank you very much for being on the show, and I hope that we could give my spectators some value. We'll be definitely back on these topics to help people out more with their health. So concluding that it's best if you could actually be of good metabolic health by improving your diet, exercise, sweat, breathe. That will improve your immunity. Avoid crap stuff, avoid junk food. And this is the time to improve your life. And vaccine is your choice. As the good doctor said, that there are some speculations, there are some theories with immunologists and virologists saying that mass scale vaccination of humanity is the first time in human history it's like that. So evidently the virus, to escape that, is mutating rather quickly, which is why we are seeing so many new different strains. And we will definitely see you in the next one. Thanks for being with us on the show. And also do leave your comments in the comment section down below of what you do believe and what you think. And we'll definitely, doctor or me, will try to help you out in the best possible manner, or maybe have another video on a topic that you think is important. Yes, doctor?
Yes.
And we will definitely see you in the next one. Until then, cheers.